Right, well, good evening. Back on it again, thankfully. God's sakes. Cat wants some love. Right. Right, good evening once again. So back on it again, quite early this evening, so we might get a little bit done tonight with a bit of luck. It just depends on what else goes on in life, I guess, obviously. So we've made a couple of front brake hoses. And so we've got some 70-degree bends there. We've got clamped together there, going up to two 90 degrees under there. So I've got a double banjo ordered that I don't have in a minute. I'm waiting for that to turn up. Okay, so just straight down. Now I tried, the reason I went for some make your own pipes is I tried a few different variations on running the pipes in different directions and all sorts, trying to make it look neat. And to be fair, nothing looks quite right for some reason. I can't figure it out. So this is the way that I've decided to go with it for now. That's at maximum extension. I fixed the puncture, so it's got a new inner tube in the wheel, and that's all been straightened up and bolted on, but I haven't actually dropped it back down to see how it naturally sits yet. So we'll see what these pipes do when the suspension compresses a little bit. And we'll see where the movement is within them, and we might have to bracket them somewhere. Okay, but we can deal with that when we drop it off the stand. What we are doing then is the oil cooler. And I think we talked about the oil cooler before, didn't we? We went for a different oil cooler than the original for two reasons. One, I can sell the original, so I'll probably get more money back from the original than this actually cost in the first place. And this one allows me to get the ends on it just a lot easier, so I can put some braided hoses on there. So we're just making up the bracket, and we've done a couple of flat bits. The idea, my idea of how I'm going to bolt this on, there's two round tubes out the front and the back on the frame. I've got two tubes, one there and there, and I'm going to mount it off of both of those. Okay, so we're going to use these, and we're going to put it on with some Jubilee clips. Okay, so we just got to make these now fit the tubes. So it's going to sit a little higher than the original, but I want it to sit higher than the original so we get more stainless steel pipe. Okay, that's my plan, rather than dropping it down here, because then they'd be ever so short. So I want more to look bigger. Okay, so these have been just cut, flattened out, and cut into shape. That's my top bracket. That's my bottom bracket there then. So all I've got to do is just drill a hole in here and make it good for a cable tie to go through, a Jubilee clip to go through. And I'm just gonna cut the ends over and bend the ends over just so it's a centering location for the Jubilee clip on both of these. Okay. So I will crack on with that and come back to you very shortly. We have then, so we've made our brackets. And so you can see they're sort of shaped to go round the two bars. And then I've got the holes in here so I can hold them on with some Jubilee clips. So all I need now is 4 Jubilee clips. That way round, isn't it? Other way round. Can't do it this way round. Okay, 4 Jubilee clips, and then I've just got to clamp it onto the bars and then see if it mounts in the right place and straighten it all up. Okay, so I'm going to bolt that on, and then we'll have a look at doing these pipes and see what they look like. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to tidy up all of this crap and drop it down off of the stand so it's sitting naturally on the front wheel again. Okay, so that's what we're going to do next. So bear with me for a couple of minutes. Right, good evening. Right, what we're going to do tonight, we're going to finish off fitting this oil cooler, and I'll show you the result in a minute. But we're going to have a bit of a how-to video, because we haven't actually done one for a while, have we? Usually it's just me cutting up bits of metal and stuff like that. So we're making some braided hoses then to fit on the bike. And so the first thing we've got to do is cut this down to length. Okay, now this is a size 6 hose. Ow, bloody hell, it's sharp on the edges as well. Just so just for anybody's thinking of getting one, that's what a size 6 looks like. And we need to fit the hose onto the end of this. So this will screw onto our union. And we need to measure this and get it exactly the right length. Okay, now on the red part of this, and you might not be able to see it particularly well, but there's a line just there, okay, and the hose, we need to cut the hose off at that length. So I've laid the hose at exactly the right place where I want it to go, and I'm going to mark it then at that length, which is just there. Okay, job done. We know where we're going to cut the hose off. Good. Okay, so where I put the mark on it, I've just put a little bit of masking tape around there, and the mark is right in the centre of that. So we're just going to cut this off with a grinder then. So just with a cutting disc on the grinder, and we need a nice straight cut. Okay, so now cut with the grinder, fantastic. Right then, we have to then take this apart. We need the little red bit, we don't need the blue bit. And where we put that little mark on, you can see where the lines are around there now. We've got to push the pipe through this to that point. Okay, so we're going to leave the tape on it, and we're going to put a bit of lube on this. Now we have to do this in the vise. So I've got a couple of bits of aluminium here just so I don't mark the union at all. And I am actually going to put a bit of WD on there. And this is rock hard, this is, so I'm just going to slide it in, and I'm going to turn it in a clockwise direction and push it as hard as I can at the same time, and keep turning it in. And eventually it will go in as far as we need it to. Hopefully, how's that? Not quite. That looks pretty good to me. Okay, so you can see now, can you see? So the hoses come through up to about there. Fantastic. In fact, maybe I'm going to go about 1 millimetre more. Yeah. Not like that though. That'll do me lovely. Okay, so this hose has now gone through as far as it needs to go. Okay then, good. Now what we have to do is screw this. Where are you? Can you see me? You can see me. We have to screw this onto that. But now I've not done this before. Well, I've done it on the other ends of this, so I've had a few practice goes at it. But speaking to the guy in the shop, he was very helpful. Thank you very much. He said, what you've got to do is when you're tightening this on, you've got to make sure it doesn't push the hose back out this way. Okay, otherwise you lose your seal. So what we're going to do, we're going to bolt this bit in the vise. A bit further out than that, I think. Around about there. I think I'm going to have to go get my glasses, you know. Bear with me, I'm going to get my glasses. Let's try again, shall we? Right, okay, that's going in there. And we're going to tighten that down. Okay, the blue bit's tight in the vise. And we need to, what we need to do to make sure that this pipe doesn't push back out, we're going to put a little bit of tape on it just so we know where it is. You see what I mean? Good. So now if it pushes out, we'll see this disappear. We can lose a millimetre or so, but we don't want to lose too much. A little bit of oil. Lube. Okay, and then we've just got to try and get this started, and it's quite easy to get it started, which it is now. And then we're going to tighten this up. Now when we tighten this up, I'm going to push on the hose while I'm tightening it up, and that way hopefully it won't push the hose out. Okay, so spanner and push. And you have to make that noise while you're doing it as well. So I'm just going to keep tightening this down until I've got about a millimetre or so to go between the red bit. Oh, can you see that? I don't suppose you can see that, can you? Until the red bit and the blue bit in there. Okay, I won't bore you with it. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so you can see that's tightened down to there now. And you can see how much the hose moved out. Yeah, if anything, half a millimetre maybe. Probably not even that. So now that, in theory, should have a lovely, lovely seal between those 2 points. Good stuff. Job done. So now we've just got to bolt this onto the bike. So let's bolt it on the bike and we'll see if it was all worthwhile. Right then, ladies and gents, this is our current state of affairs, and you can see it looks a bit more complete than it did a minute ago. I've just chucked the exhausts on, so they're not bolted on properly, and there's a lot of bits that I haven't bolted on properly still, which I'm going to get round to shortly. But what I have been doing is the oil cooler. And so what we've done is we managed to get a couple of braided hoses on there, which is what I really wanted to do. I've extended it up a little bit so there's a bit more length to it. Not a lot, just a couple of inches or so. And I've remounted an oil cooler, a different oil cooler. We got a different one so we could get the proper ends and things like that, didn't we? So I've made some brackets up and mounted it up there, and it looks real neat. And the hoses look fantastic. Okay, so now there's a little splash of colour going on the bike now, and I quite like that effect. The exhaust, like I say, nothing's been bolted on properly, so we'll worry about that another time. We've done the brake lines as well, so I've got a couple of brake lines on there, which is good. Big job done. And yes, here we go. This is my idea with the fairing. Now then, don't laugh, okay? Just have a study and a think about it. And we're going for a set of wings on here, possibly. Okay, now give it a minute, okay? Don't discount the idea straight away. Now these are a bit sort of Ducati, Davizioso-ish. They're a little bit too big. We're thinking of like M1 Valentino Rossi, sort of 2016-esque, so quite small. We're going to go smaller than this. But this is what we're seriously thinking about, because it does take away the view that I don't like on the bike. And it does look surprisingly okay. I've lived with this for a couple of weeks. You've looked at it for about 30 seconds. Okay, so have a think about it. Don't discount it. I'm still thinking about it. But I think I might go along this route. Now, the only problem with this is, of course, if I make these out of fiberglass, then I don't know how legal it'll be, having some bits of fiberglass sticking out the front of the fairing, which might be an issue. Yes, but this is still in process, okay? So we're still thinking about that. But she's looking pretty good at the minute, I think. She's sort of coming together. So what we're going to do next then, on our list then, so I've crossed off the brake hoses, I've crossed off the oil cooler. This was quite a big job for me, this, so that's done, which is good. So now we're going to go with cables, clutch cable, throttle cables. We've still got to mount the fairing properly. This is in process, as you know. Chuck the rev counter. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to build up the clocks and the front end of it, get everything bolted on in the right place, and start fixing things together properly. And pretty soon, I think we're going to be on that wire and loom and the control unit. So this is going to be quite a big job, this, isn't it? But it'll be good fun. And I've had a little go, I've had a play around, and I'm sort of getting there with it, with the ideas of it anyway. Okay, so bike, current state of, looking good, oil cooler done, fantastic. Very soon to have all of the other little bits and bobs tidied up. So our next couple of days, I'll try and spend a little bit of time out here and just go around a few little bits and bobs on it. Okay, so there you go. Say goodbye for now, bike, and I'll speak to you again soon.